Recently, an article by Rolling Stone featured the top 25 most influential creators of 2025. Beauty, fashion, comedy, cooking, live streaming, everything else. But the only reason this article got any attention was because none other than Mr. Beast himself decided to make a big deal out of it for no fucking reason. That reason being is because he's ranked number 7th, and at number 6 is some guy named Caleb Huron, or Huron, I didn't really check. But he says, like, I got like 700 bajillion followers, and you're telling me this guy with 1.6 million is more popular than me? Now, this is a stupid thing for him to do for multiple reasons. One, it makes him look super immature, and two, the list was in no particular order. But I have to admit, Mr. Beast does make a fair point because who the fuck is this guy? I mean, he looks like a perfectly fine comedian. He could probably rant about your landlord. He's gonna probably make a bunch of jokes about this incident. His audience probably consists of mostly white women who want to be bisexual, but that's not the point. As someone who spends a lot of time online and has to somewhat keep up with trends, I counted how many people I knew from this article, and by that I meant I literally heard their name either once or twice at the minimum. Everyone else I've never heard of before, and with that, I counted 10 people, which is a 40%, which would be a failing grade in the school of industry plants. Yeah, this whole thing is an industry plant list. You know, I skimmed through a bunch of the people here, and yeah, they all have talent agencies or publicists, or they just straight up paid to be here. I'm gonna be honest. Like, who the... Like looking at the list, like, who is Sabrina Breyer? Well, I did the research, and she's a nepo baby who's too old to be in the Forbes 30 under 30, but she is able to be a part of the 25 under 32. Or what about Tefi Pessoa? How could you not know this woman who's known for videos such as Preteens Are Vicious, which has a staggering 533 views. But that's before she rebranded her channel to be a podcast that barely breaks 10,000 views. I'm not trying to be a hater, but how influential are you if I can get more views than you? And I also want to point out Jake Shane, who appeared in not one but 2 of these Rolling Stone articles. I think he's also a nepo baby, but he's actually doing pretty well on a YouTube channel, so I can't be too much of a hater. And he actually got a Forbes 30 under 30. Now, Jake Shane actually is somewhat popular, so I understand if I'm the one outside of the sphere of influence, but the only reason I bring him up is because he made an album last year called Puss and Poems, and this is one of the worst albums I've ever heard. Actually, let me rephrase that. This is one of the worst albums I've ever heard. Now, obviously, these people exist outside of the realm of YouTube. You know, compare Tefi's YouTube channel to her Instagram, she's a little bit more popular there. Heck, Caleb himself has a podcast with 336,000 subscribers, which for a podcast is actually very, very healthy. But compare that to the numbers of Mr. Beast, and you can see him quickly be eclipsed by, how much is that number? Oh yeah, 428 million. But to elaborate on this list, it's made me wonder, how do you grab 25 people and say, yes, these are the most influential people right now? I don't know if you know this, but the internet is a big, big ocean of people, and it's bigger than just someone like Kay Poyer. Like, who are these people? And ever since the internet's existed, there's been this increasing tension between 2 things: the industry and the creator economy. When I say the industry, I mainly just mean your traditional mediums, TV, music, movies. And when I say the creator economy, I mean people like me who have no chance of getting into the industry, but damn it, I can make money off YouTube. You know, I'm in the business to entertain, but it's not going to be a Netflix original series anytime soon. And I mean, there's been attempts to cross the streams, YouTuber events, movies, shows, but it feels like every single time this is attempted, it feels like trying to mix oil and water. If you look at it strictly through the numbers, this list is irrelevant. Okay, Rolling Stone says they tried to have more of an objective weight through things like creator IQ, whatever that is. Like Brandon Edelman, this feels like a way more traditional approach to promoting someone. He was specifically able to give quotes to Rolling Stone. My platform is being this Philly kid. I don't know why he has a country accent. My platform is being this Philly kid who, no matter how much money I have, I still want to eat at Applebee's.
What's your favorite item from Applebee's? Or do you even have Applebee's in your city? Right.
And then you get to someone like Mr. Beast, who they have to put by sheer obligation because he has more followers than everyone else on this list combined. Still super influential, but he has a lawsuit. And yeah, he has a lawsuit. I don't know how that's gonna turn out, but you know what I mean. Not to bring up YouTube statistics over and over again, but if you're going to bring up food influencers, why bring up this person and not the food influencer with 10 million subscribers? Because if you do look at it by the numbers alone, this is way more influential. But if I look at it through my sphere of who's talking about who, this list is also irrelevant. Again, I don't use TikTok, so I'm not familiar with the TikTok influencers, but just regarding the word of mouth I hear about creators talking about other creators, those creators we talk about would not catch a single whiff of an article like this. Like even the ones that are popular on Instagram, I just don't see them getting this kind of attention. Because it's not just about the numbers, it's about what impact you can have on individual people as well. That's why personalities are such a big deal in entertainment. Anyone can read off of a script, or anyone can make a video about a trending topic, but the key difference is if you can make yourself trending. Because if you can do that, your value goes way up. But there's also the issue of impact. People impact you in different ways. The way one person can impact me on the internet is completely different from the way a celebrity could impact me.
You guys get a bite of that? Can you see that? Got the chicken meat in there.
There's something more refined about an industry personality that I prefer sometimes. I know a big part of the internet is the rawness of personality you can get from people. There are people online that would have never existed in the public conscious 30 years ago, and that has its own value, but if we're talking pure entertainment value, a professional will sweep any internet creator any day of the week. There is a night and day difference between a celebrity roast and a Twitch streamer roast. Like, I don't know, I know that used to be a thing where Twitch streamers would try to roast each other in the similar format they do on like Comedy Central or whatever. They're not built for it. They're just not built for it. I'm sorry. They're just not.
I actually wanted to do some research so I could get a good, halfway decent joke with you, but every time I started, I only got about 30 seconds done before I had to clean up, so.
On the other hand, when a celebrity tries to engage in internet-centric culture, you will see them fold faster than a lawn chair when they're not being handled by 12 people at all times. And it's like these two things are so contrasting, so why do we try so hard to mush them together?
What up, Reddit? It's Kendrick Lamar.
I'll bring up Caleb again because the way Rolling Stone promotes him is not how you want to promote an internet personality. They're talking about him like, oh, he just got his first acting role in the HBO show. Oh, he's gonna be the Devil Wears Prada sequel. It's like, good for him, but why should I care? Stand-up comedy is a way more prominent environment on the internet. If you're gonna talk about this guy, talk about the stand-up comedy. You know why? Because that's the stuff that's gonna pop up when I search up his name. It's not gonna be the upcoming movie, it's gonna be now. And also the one thing Rolling Stone brings up about Mr. Beast is the Beast Games. But if you're looking at this guy purely from the perspective of a show, you're missing so much of the bigger picture. Because the biggest issue I heard time and time again with Beast Games is that it's just him trying to translate his YouTube videos into a show. And guess what? It just doesn't work as well as the videos. If I'm going to watch Mr. Beast, I could watch it on Amazon Prime, or I could just go and watch it on YouTube. I understand the show allowed him to have a bigger scope, bigger prizes, bigger everything else, but the environment he's creating this in is so much more confined. And I'm not gonna solely blame TV. I do think Mr. Beast just wasn't that good at making a show, but making a show requires a separate degree of experience that you don't fully get from YouTube videos. And vice versa, I think an internet personality requires its own set of skills. You ever see live streams where they get musicians on stream and they just don't do anything? Either that or they actively hinder the live stream. Yes, they're a popular person, but having a popular person doesn't mean they're going to be entertaining.
Yo, you can't smoke in here. This shit gonna go off. Like, please.
I appreciate you.
And honestly, this opens up such a big can of worms, it's hard to cover in one video. Because we've seen it time and time again, where a YouTuber will get popular on the internet and they try to branch out into other things and it just doesn't work. There's a reason the YouTube music career is so infamous. Okay, I know the reason YouTube music careers usually fail is because the music sucks. But a big reason as to why that can suck sometimes is because of the tonal change of their content to the music. Why is it we don't get mad at Minecraft parodies, but we get mad at Dream's music career, okay? Because they're two different types of tones. Both of them are different songs, but one has way more connection to the initial audience they created. Okay, yeah, Living Tombstone still made the Five Nights at Freddy's song, but I guarantee you have at least one song you listen to by him. And it's because the music translates well from the content. What if Rhett and Link tried to make serious music? What if Smosh tried to make serious music? It would just be weird. And you know what is weird? When the YouTubers do try to make serious music. And I know you're thinking like, oh, what about my favorite YouTuber that makes a serious music. Hold on. I'm not talking about your favorite YouTuber. I'm gonna bring up an example. I'll be honest, I got flamed on my second channel for bringing this up, but Brittany Broski has a music career. If you know her, if you know Caleb Hira and you know Brittany Broski, I mean, they're kind of like intertwined with each other. But that music career has a completely different tone to literally everything else she does. You know, I don't watch her podcast, but I know what a podcast is like. You listen to a podcast because it's super casual, something you can put on in the background, and Brittany is a super bubbly personality. But then you get to the music career and this is serious. It has to be taken seriously. I'm going to have the dramatic lighting. My video is going to be in black and white. I'm not going to smile a single time. I'm not even going to look at the camera. I'm so dramatic. I mean, the music's not that bad if you really like stomp clap. I don't mean it in a mean way. It's literally stomp clap music. Like, it's actually it sounds like the Ford commercial you're thinking of in your head.
Ram Trucks, JD Power's #1 brand.
But then you have those fans that will just love everything this person does. And again, I don't think the music's bad. She's a very capable singer, but her fans overcompensate for what I'm hearing. Oh my gosh, you're so talented. I can't believe we're watching your rise to superstardom. Mother is feeding us again, yes! Oh my god, Brittany, this song could totally be in Sinners. Well, you're kind of missing something there. Melanin. And let me clarify, I'm not saying, oh, if you're doing funny content, you have to be funny all the time. But there's a difference between making music as a content creator and branching out into music, because the songs Brittany's making are very clearly pushes into the music industry. I'm reading off of her Spotify description. Brittany Broski is known as a prolific creator, podcaster, and presence across culture. However, the best way to really get to know this Renaissance woman is through her music. I mean, I feel like I got to know her way better through her podcast than her songs, but anyways, as a singer-songwriter, she pins unfiltered lyrics straight from the heart while her towering vocals resounds. Yeah, this is the bio of someone who's trying to get onto a chart. Like, again, if you're gonna make your own thing, make your own thing, but if you're going to try to push your music into the industry through your audience, I feel like something that would have a more tonal association with your audience would help a lot. And I know this example is growing older by the day, but Filthy Frank and Joji, that's a pretty drastic tonal shift from the goofy funny guy who eats the funny cake to serious artist. There was one thing that connected that bridge, and it was a funny music career. Pink Guy. He had 2 albums of this creature that was able to flex his comedic chops that people were familiar with the music that people didn't know as well. And that transition from comedy to comedy music to serious music is a lot more smooth than what Brittany Broski did and a lot of YouTube music careers, but I'm going to get shit on harder than a Dave Matthews touring bus if I bring up more examples than one. Okay, let me boil this down so I can keep the video short and sweet. Internet content can be comforting and relatable. Industry stuff is professional and polished. And when you come to someone for relatability, it's a little bit weird when they're acting professional. You know what I mean? Brittany Broski's music career feels like a friend at work that can't 100% be themselves because they're being watched by a manager. And this list is complete and total horseshit. I don't need the Rolling Stones to tell me how influential someone is. If anything, this list feels like it's designed for a handful of suits who are trying to figure out who the next big star is. Who's big on the internet right now? Speedy Mormon? I like the sound of that. And don't get me wrong, there's still people who can transcend the barrier between being relatable and professional at the flip of a switch. But trying to quantify influence, why? Sure, bigger number equal more people and recommendations go a long way, but the true influencers aren't the friends we make along the way. Because I'm your friend. I'm your best friend. You know what? I got a little bit more time to kill. Let me look at some of these other social media names. Also, I don't want to be one of those people that are gonna act cool for not knowing someone, okay? You're never cool for not knowing what something is. It's always the most annoying thing when someone gets virality is people think they're cool for not knowing who that person was. Oh, a rapper is trending for something. Well, I've never heard of them. You don't know who the popular person is? Wow. Well, why don't you go and buy yourself something nice, young man? So there's Meredith Hayden. Her stare scares the shit out of me. What the fuck? She bought a home for $2.8 million? Like, there's also just people who I understand are just exclusively on TikTok. Like, Alex Earl is probably a name I will never hear again. Oh, she was in a Super Bowl commercial. She invested in a cocktail brand. But like, what do these things have to do with her being an internet personality? Oh, she's gonna be on Dancing with the Stars? For some reason, that's happening more than once in this article. Like, there's also another person who was on Dancing in the Stars on the same list. And it's like, okay, well, this person's an Olympic athlete. They had a little bit of a platform already. You know what I mean? Drew Afualo. Drew Afuelo. It's like, she just completed her tour. She became a New York Times bestseller. So many of these creators have a podcast, by the way. Like, all of these fucking people have a podcast, just about. And not to be that guy, but I do feel like this list could have included more people that I know. And by that, I don't mean like, oh, what about John Billowy, who has 30,000 followers on Instagram? No, I mean like the Rizzler. Why isn't he on the article? He's about to get his own Arizona Drake. Well, it's because the Rizzler doesn't need this. He doesn't need Rolling Stone to be a star. He's a natural.